Hey there, I'm Tom from BorrowLenses.com, and today we're going to talk about our top 5 picks for Sony portrait lenses. Sony is at the top of their mirrorless game with cameras like the A7 Mark III, and at the time of this video, the 63 megapixel A7R IV and the 20 FPS capable A9 Mark II. Even on the crop side, the A6000 series cameras offer outstanding value and great performance for both photo and video. Today, however, I want to focus on Sony glass, specifically those that lend themselves well to portraiture. Let's get into it. First up is Sony's 85mm f1.4 GM lens. The 85 ticks a lot of boxes for me. Sharp throughout its aperture range, fast to focus, great in low light, and really pleasing bokeh. It's got 11 elements in 8 groups, an 11-bladed rounded aperture, and a minimum focusing distance of 2.79 feet. I like that this lens has an aperture ring that can be declicked in a snap. One thing I will say about this lens is that it's quite large when mounted up. Some people like mirrorless for the small form factor, and the 85 certainly diminishes from that. Not a deal breaker for me though. Next up is the fairly new 135mm f1.8 GM. Like the 85 GM, it's crispy wide open and rapid to snap to focus. Also like the 85, it has an aperture ring which can be declicked at the flip of a switch. If you love that compressed telephoto look when shooting portraits, the 135 has you covered well. It has 13 elements in 10 groups, an 11-bladed rounded aperture, and a minimum focusing distance of 2.3 feet. For a lens of this size, that's close. Check out the image quality. I do have some small gripes with this lens. The filter threads are plastic, which is less than I'd expect from a lens of this price. It's also rather large and heavy, but that can't really come as a surprise. Again, size does not bother me all that much. Third on our list is the very mighty 70-200 f2.8 GM lens. 70-200 2.8s are a staple in any working photographer's bag. Sony's lens is no exception. In fact, it stands out among 70-200s. Speedy autofocus, fast and sharp, wide open, and has great optical stabilization that will work in tandem with Sony's in-body stabilization equipped cameras. It's made up of 23 elements in 18 groups, has an 11-bladed rounded aperture, and a very close minimum focusing distance of 3.15 feet. Pair this lens with the 24-70 GM, and you've got the holy grail of lens combos. My only problem with this lens, again, is the plastic filter threads. Anyway, let's take a look at some test shots. Fourth on the list is the 24-70 f2.8 GM lens. So far on our list of portrait lenses for different mounts, 24-70 in some form or another lands a spot. I think to many of you this won't come as a surprise. The 24-70 is just such a versatile lens. It covers portraiture, but it also lends itself well to pretty much any other discipline in photography. If you can only have one lens, 24-70 may just be it. This particular 24-70 makes great images wide open, is fast to focus, and like the other GM lenses we've mentioned, has a focus lock button. It's got 18 elements in 13 groups, a 9-bladed rounded aperture, and a minimum focusing distance of 1.25 feet. Take a look at some test shots from this lens. Last but certainly not least on our list is the 50mm f1.4 Planar T lens. Made by Zeiss, this 50 is, like its friends on the list, fast to focus and sharp wide open from edge to edge. In images, the 50 shows very little distortion. It's made up of 12 elements in 9 groups, has an 11-bladed rounded aperture, and a minimum focusing distance of 1.5 feet. 50mm will always be my personal favorite in portraiture. I like the look of a 50mm, and I get a lot of use out of this focal length in particular when photographing subjects other than people. It's the one focal length I find myself reaching for the most. Let's take a look at some sample shots. So there you have it, our top 5 Sony lenses for portraiture. What would make it onto your list? Let us know in a comment, and remember, if you want to try any of these lenses or anything else, you certainly can at BorrowLenses.com. Thanks for watching. What to choose?